Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it with your favorite and my favorite set of stories ever. What are your D&D Darwin Award stories, Part 4? I have to out my own character here. I am a deeply dedicated role player who will always follow the lead of my character, no matter how intensely frustrating they want to be. A few years ago, I was playing a vengeance paladin whose vengeance target was a vampire lord who had ruled the city my character was born in for a few hundred years. A little backstory is necessary to set up all the elements that made this death as stupid as it was. First, my character was the son of a prostitute from the local brothel. I had no inclination as to who his father was, so I told the DM to have fun with it, so he chose. Second, my character had tried to assassinate this vampire in his youth and failed spectacularly, resulting in the deaths of the other teenagers he brought with him. As the leader, my character was tortured until he eventually escaped and went into self-imposed exile. And then, third, of course, this DM liked to run more meat-grindery games, and all his villains were homebrewed and beefed to hell and back. Throughout the course of the campaign, I learned that his father was actually the grandson of this vampire's brother, making my character the multi-great-nephew of the vampire and the last male heir. He was not pleased by this news, oh no, but we had infiltrating the city and finishing what he started to do on the list anyway. Unfortunately, but importantly, this instilled my character with a bit of a feeling of immunity. When we arrived, we tried to be sneaky and roguelike, which was a tactic that we had never tried before, and went about as well as you could expect, since we had me, a paladin with a -1 to stealth and heavy armor, and in fact, no rogues. We happened upon my mother, and we were taking shelter in the warlock's magnificent mansion. My mother found out what we were up to and begged me to not make her bury me, and my paladin assured her that she wouldn't have to. And then the magnificent mansion got dispelled from the outside. We all end up in an unarmored heap at the foot of the vampire and a small contingent of guards. There was a short conversation, mostly between the vampire and our warlock, who was the face of the group. Since my character was a bit indisposed, silently indulging his PTSD, and was so convinced that this was a trap that I flat refused to roll inside at all. Then the vampire asked me directly why he shouldn't kill me, and my paladin's dumb idiot brain decided the best course of action was to confidently list all the opportunities the vampire had had to kill him in the past, and did not. And he ended his list with, "I don't think you can kill me." Oh, you're screwed, buddy. The vampire had 4 attacks. The first attack was a crit, and he unleashed every ability he had at his disposal, and did a 180-something damage as he shoved his hand through my chest. Dude, you got Yamcha'd. I had around 150 maximum hit points. The second attack, he bit me, dealing 2 death saving throws. The third attack he used to slit his own wrist. The fourth attack he used to force the blood into my stupid dying mouth. Oh, then initiative was rolled, and I rolled high enough that I went before any of the healers. I failed my last death save and died on the floor, in front of my mother, whom I had promised not 10 minutes before that she'd not have to bury me. I think the best part was that our warlock, who had built his entire character around reading minds, and was this close to literally ascending to godhood, had rolled a natural 20 insight check and learned literally a minute prior that the vampire genuinely was there to just talk, and would not have done anything if I had not opened my big, fat, stupid mouth. I woke up as a vampire and got to keep playing him, so I didn't lose the character, but I definitely lost the party's respect for him. At least my mother didn't have to bury me. Yeah, but now you gotta sleep in a coffin and feed on blood. Before we go any further with the video, let's talk about something I know you'll love, the Eternium. These fantasy playing cards are a clash of titanic elements, such as sea monsters and fire, or the undead fused with medieval punk styles. Printed on high-quality 310-gram black core paper, you too can experience the beautiful artwork of Eddie Whipple, as you have not one but 3 possible decks to choose from with 3 mystical flavors within: the Dawn, the Dusk, and a mixture of the 2, the Twilight, all featuring your standard 2 to Ace set with 4 unique races of fantasy creation known as the Bastions, the Restless, the Abyssals, and the Imperium. If you'd like to know more, please check out their Kickstarter, which will be linked somewhere in the description below. And trust me, you will not regret checking out this beautiful set of highly imaginative playing cards. New game. Everyone's level 1. Playing with a party of 4. Me, who'd only played 1 game before, playing a wizard. 1 experienced player playing a fighter, and 2 new players playing a wizard and a paladin. DM did a Session 0 dungeon to help the new players understand combat. First room. Only thing in there is a bubbling cauldron and a cabinet full of different potions. The experienced player, known for his shenanigans, wants to pick up the entire cabinet and throw it into the cauldron. Not everything in the cabinet, the entire cabinet. Both of the new players wanted to help him. I want no part of this, and I'm hiding behind a corner. The DM on the spot came up with 4 possibilities and rolled a d4. I forget all of them, but 2 of them would have killed all 3 characters instantly. An explosion or poison gas. We luckily get hit with a gelatinous cube. It forms where the party is standing. The wizard fails his dex save and dies instantly. The paladin eventually falls to 0 HP as well. Both the new players died on Session 0. Since they were new, my DM let them live and told the group, "Great learning experience. I hope everyone learned something." TLDR. Session 0, first encounter, new player instantly dead in the first room. Yeah, that sounds about right. This happened when I was first playing D&D 3.5. Great addition. My party was going into a dungeon to beat a minotaur. My character was a rogue and was dodging traps left and right, and got further ahead and found a chest down the hall from a giant iron door. After disarming the chest, he finds a dagger that makes what is essentially sounding like a lightsaber when moved around, that has a slight glow to it. Now, something to say is that at the time, I didn't realize actions still have consequences in the game. So, at the top of his lungs, my character shouts to the entire party, "Hey guys, I found this really cool glowing dagger that makes sound when you move it! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh!" Next thing he hears is the sound of banging coming from the other side of the iron door, along with the shouting, "That's my dagger!" With one final bang, the iron door flies off the hinges and my character gets turned into tomato paste. I was playing a halfling druid who had heard about a magical item called a bag of holding. Dun dun dun. So, he desperately wanted this magic item, so would check every bag he came across to see if it was a bag of holding. One fateful day, he placed an item in the bag he found, and the DM said to me, "You try to retrieve your item, but you can't find it." He tried to see if he could reach further into the bag to see if it was just further in. My DM described that the bag was trying to pull me in. This should have been the first clue that something was wrong, but he was very intent on getting his item back. So he attempted to pull back at the bag, but nothing was working. So instead, he tried to see what would happen if he stood inside the bag so he could go and retrieve this item himself. It was at this point that our DM hit us with the infamous question, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" I naively didn't understand, so I said yes. He made me make 2 saving throws, 1 for intelligence and 1 for dex. I passed both. As the druid jumped out of the bag, our sorcerer cast Identify on the bag. Oh, it wasn't a bag of holding, it was a bag of devouring. And we almost had a player death in the first 5 sessions of the campaign. I now know to never take the "Are you sure?" question lightly. Wasn't me, but a story from a friend of mine. He was playing a one-shot at a D&D convention of some sort with a handful of strangers picked from the audience. They were exploring a dungeon when they came across a locked door engraved with magic runes and surrounded by deep shadows. An investigation check revealed that the shadows on one side of the door actually hid a passageway. basically a tunnel hidden behind what appeared to be a darkness spell. So my friend, the halfling rogue, I believe, said he entered the darkness. Seeing this, his teammates all followed after. Now, at that point, the DM quietly handed him his mini and character sheet and said, "Thanks for playing." My friend asked what happened, and this turns out to be a sphere of annihilation, and he won the mini for first death of the day. Oh, that's gotta suck. Once had a player jump into a bed which was filled with caltrops. Oh god, that sounds awful. This requires some explanation as I was a player in this game. Also, we were in high school, so we were all pretty immature. Rogue player places a whole bag of caltrops on the ranger's bed, sending the DM a secret note. The rogue had only done this as a joke, figuring that the ranger would just start to sit down on his bed, feel a caltrop, curse a bit, blame the trickster, then go to sleep. Sort of like placing a tack on a chair. Oh, I haven't done that in a while. He only placed all the caltrops on the bed because the fact that it was a bed meant he didn't know where the ranger would actually sit down. Oh, the ranger did not sit down. In fact, the ranger had blatantly stated that he got drunk and jumped into his bed. The DM asked if by jumping into his bed, he meant moved quickly to the bed. The ranger said, "No, I mean, I drink a ton, get drunk, and then jump on top of my bed. Flying leap style." The DM was still pretty new and was convinced that a caltrop's damage was based on the person only stepping on one. The ranger had just landed on 2/3 of a full bag of caltrops. We did some quick math and found that it was enough to kill this low-level character. We all had a laugh, hand-waved the death away as it was only supposed to be a joke, and the paladin, me, and the rogue helped get the ranger back to the Being Alive Club. Of course, after this, caltrops became a running joke at the table. I had one player whose character wandered alone into a seemingly abandoned town full of statues of people. He got eaten by mimics. Surprise, surprise, it was a mimic colony. By that point, we'd seen sock mimics, door mimics, bag mimics, shoe mimics. You get the point. Then, in the same town, the rogue went off and convinced the paladin, who just arrived near the scene, to charge in with him as a two-man army to fight. We'd already somewhat peacefully resolved dealing with them by that point. Running a bounty that involved fetching a MacGuffin from an abandoned castle. We did not know what had caused it to be abandoned other than the rumors that it was haunted. Dun, dun, dun. We reach the castle and the DM gives us the description of a large castle in disrepair sitting on a cliff. We enter and find out it was overrun with modified living armors. They were larger and had a demonic style to them, plus several had blood on them, though none were damaged. We walked in and none of them moved, even when prompted or provoked. So we explored, figured that they were a trap for later, and eventually find the MacGuffin in the back room. Figuring that touching the MacGuffin would set it off, I tried to find an alternate route out. While I'm doing this, the rogue waits next to me and the paladin goes off to scout. I cast Shatter at the wall and do decent damage, shaking the castle a bit and weakening the wall. Well, I cast it again, and this time the wall crumbles. The DM said that I also unfortunately moved the MacGuffin with the spell, and the statues started to come to life. We could hear their metal boots marching towards us. That's fucking creepy. At this point, the paladin comes running back in. He sees the MacGuffin, grabs it, and jumps out of the hole in the wall. Except, we all forgot that the castle was on a cliff, and this was the back of it. The paladin fell 200 feet straight down to his death. Later, we had found out that the 107 I counted living armors had only a single HP each, albeit with 20 AC. A single hit of any spell would have killed them. Well, rest in peace is Bracom. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave us a comment down below letting us know your Darwin moment. All the love, we'll see you next time. Bye for now.